trial of Derek Chauvin in the George Floyd trial is over. And just after a couple hours after the announcement that he was going to be convicted guilty on all charges, we had another shooting, this time in Columbus, Ohio. And this time it was a 16-year-old black woman, girl, kid, who was shot by a police officer while she was wielding a knife and was trying to stab somebody. Now, the media, of course, immediately got this wrong initially. They said that she dropped the knife. They also said that she was the one who called the police when that was found out not to be true. And the media has been spinning this completely out of control, as they usually do. And it just makes me wonder, why are they doing this? Why are they obviously framing this so incorrectly? There has to be some kind of motive behind that. Let's just start here with the story. I like this picture because it's got the guy, the neighbor of this family, standing out front. He's kind of shrugging his shoulders like... But he says that his new footage proves Columbus cop had no choice but to shoot her. Second neighbor says knife-wielding 16-year-old was in full attack mode and the other girl's life was at stake. And that's the truth. I mean, the police were called there, and when they immediately when they go on scene, they see a big scuffle, a bunch of people crowding around outside of a house, people fighting, being pushed to the ground, and then they see Micaiah grabbing a knife, pushing a girl up against a car, and reeling back to stab her, and then they shoot her. If you ask me, this police officer is a hero. He saved this other girl's life. He saved this black woman's life. She was trying to murder her with a knife. I mean, what else are the police supposed to do? And part of me thinks that the reason why the mainstream media is going crazy about this story is because they know that this is a perfect example of a police officer using lethal force when he should. Now, I don't want anybody to die. I don't know what... I mean, apparently this woman, this 16-year-old girl had a bad life. She lived in foster care. She might not have had the greatest upbringing in life. And it's sad that whatever happened that day got to this point. But if someone gets shot and killed by the police while they're in the process of trying to murder somebody else, these are the tough choices that we have to weigh. This was a case when she should have... The police did everything right. And Black Lives Matter and the media are going crazy over this. And it's completely illogical, the way their take on this. You even have some people saying that they should have just... Why did the police officer shoot? Why did they even have to intervene? Why did they do anything at all? Because if they didn't do anything at all, then the story would be that the police officer stood there while a black kid got stabbed to death. So it's a lose-lose situation. The police shoot and save somebody. They're pilloried. They're demonized. If the police officer does nothing, then they're also demonized. The police officer did what he needed to do in that situation. And I think the left knows this. I think the media knows this. And they wanted to, instead of talking about how this is a good example of police doing the right thing, we're now just talking about their crazy reaction to it. Because I mean, one of the big stories is about LeBron James tweeting out. This is a tweet from LeBron James. It says, "You're next," with a little hourglass symbol and then hashtag accountability. He since deleted this tweet, but it's a perfect demonstration of... I honestly, I don't think that LeBron James is purposely lying about this. I think he's just ignorant. I think he just doesn't know what he's talking about. He is so far removed from the black community that he claims he's a part of. I mean, he tweeted this probably from his multi-million-dollar mansion sitting on a golden throne. I mean, It's King James after all. So he's so far removed from this, and I think he just is ignorant and doesn't know what he's talking about. You're next. I mean, let's be clear. People are saying that this is an incitement to violence. Saying this, I wouldn't say it's an incitement to violence. I would say that. It's not physical violence. He's not saying people should go out and find this guy and attack him. But what he is saying, because this is, again, just on the tail of the Derek Chauvin conviction, he's saying that this guy should be charged, go have a trial, and be convicted. So he's saying that the state, through the threat of violence, should arrest this man and then throw him in jail and take away his freedoms, again, with the threat of state violence. So it is an incitement to violence. Let's be clear about that. Now, this brings up, it's clear, since after Derek Chauvin's conviction, nothing has changed. They are still rioting. They're still calling for more accountability, not justice, because that's how we have the opposite of justice now. They're calling for more, and they're explicitly saying that all the riots and everything that they did last summer is the reason why Derek Chauvin got convicted. And if that's not brought up in appeal, then I don't know what will. But this brings up my question is, why are they deliberately, and the media is also deliberately editing the body cam footage that was released. They're getting rid of the knife so you can't see the knife, and they're removing all information about that. And the narrative, all this Black Lives Matter and all this defund the police talk, what's the goal of it? Because if they really cared about Black Lives Matter, they wouldn't be pushing this hatred towards police officers. They wouldn't be pushing them to quit in droves. They wouldn't be calling for defunding them. Because when the police are gone, the people that are going to be impacted the most by defunding the police and getting rid of the police are the people who live in these high crime areas, these urban areas that are mostly black communities. They don't care. And if they really cared, they would talk about all the black on black crime, because that's mainly what is happening. The majority of murders are black people killing other black people. And if they really cared, they would talk about that, but they don't. They don't care about black lives. What do they care about? What's the goal of all this? Because it's obviously that they don't care. So they must be caring about something else. I mean, Breonna Taylor, her own mother, has come out and criticized Black Lives Matter because they are going out and raising money using her name, her daughter's name, to raise money, and they're saying, we're going to give this money to the family of Breonna Taylor for justice, for accountability, for Black lives. But her mother is coming out and saying, where's this money going? We haven't seen a cent of it. So where is it going? I mean, it's clear where it's going. Recently, one of the co-founders of Black Lives Matter, a big story came out saying that she bought multiple homes, one of which was over $1 million and was in a 98% white area. So for someone who claims to say, who seems to think that America is racist and white supremacist, they moved to the wrong neighborhood, for one thing, because there's not a whole lot of minorities there. And two, she says she's a trained Marxist, self-professed trained Marxist. She's acting very capitalistic by buying up houses for herself and her family. And that was the explanation she gave to people for why she should be allowed to own all these houses, is because she is using her money that she's earned to provide homes for her family. And the other black people, her family is all black because she's black, of course. And that is ridiculous, and this is why she's hypocritical, because on their own website it said that they wanted to abolish the black nuclear family. So why is she bringing her family into this? Why does she need all this money for her family if we shouldn't have families? We should all be just one big happy family. Why So she's obviously a hypocrite. People can see this, and the media has to see this. But why are they still pushing it? I mean, this Black Lives Matter. This clearly isn't a grassroots movement. This isn't a bottom up movement. This is a top down movement. Every major corporation, every major league sport is pushing this. You saw last year. You saw Black Lives Matter banners on sports events. I mean, Hollywood is pushing it. It's everywhere, and it's coming from the system itself. For an organization that says that there's systemic racism and that we need to tear down the system because it's racist, it's interesting that it's being pushed by the very system itself. So what's the goal here? I think it's clear that they want to just destroy our American culture and destroy our way of life. I mean, they want to getting rid of the police, and after this Chauvin conviction, I don't see how anybody would want to be a police officer in Minneapolis, much less Minneapolis, but major Democrat-run cities in the first place. I don't see why you would want to put yourself through that and put yourself at that risk. I mean, you're basically getting told, like in the situation here, that no matter what you do, they're gonna hate you. They're gonna hate you for what you did. You might get thrown in jail like Derek Chauvin for decades for doing your job. So when police officers quit, or when they actually completely defund the police or abolish the police, these places are going to be, there's not going to be no order. There's going to be order, but it's going to be mob order. It's going to be mob rule. And it's not going to have the Constitution to protect them, the people in this area. It's not going to have laws that are voted on by representatives from the community. It's going to be the whims of the mob, and that can change at any moment, and it has, and it will. It's not good. This is going to destroy these Democrat-run cities. I mean, it's looking like a communist Marxist takeover of these cities. And I mean, I listened to Tim Pool, and he says that, you know what, why not? The police should all just resign. They voted for it. If that's what they want, and that's what they get. And in this situation here, if the police officers weren't here, Ma'Khia Bryant would have stabbed another teenage girl to death, a black girl. Does her life not matter? Anyway, let's read here. Ma'Khia Bryant's military veteran neighbor has said his home security camera footage proves Columbus police officer Nicholas Reardon had no choice but to shoot the 16-year-old because more people could have been killed if he hadn't acted. That's right. Let's see here. He could have either not fired, and the young lady in pink would have been stabbed in the neck and brutally or fatally injured, and then he could have shot Bryant, and he could have 2 young women dead, or he could have responded in the way that he did, and 1 young lady lost her life. I mean, yeah, that's true. Like that's 3 options right there. He could have not shot, and 1 person would have died. He could have waited or hesitated and let that person get stabbed and then shoot her, and then there'd be 2 people dead, or he could have done what he did. It's clear that in those 3 horrible choices, they're not easy choices. They're not choices that anybody wants to make. He made the best choice. All right, so with this new footage, it captured a new angle of the shooting from his driveway. The 26-second video shows a girl, now known to be Bryant, walking down a driveway toward other people at the very same moment that a police car pulls up outside the house. So she knew the police were there. Like, what is going through her head? I mean, I've heard people argue that maybe she had some sort of mental illness where she was just so enraged that she couldn't understand that the police were here and that they were going to get a handle on the situation. But what are they supposed to do? The police don't know that. They can't really do anything if they did know that. So, I mean, it's sad. Yeah, it's really sad. But what is the police officer supposed to do in this situation? Let's see here. Yep, in the footage, Bryant is seen holding a knife and charging at two other young women. So two, okay. She appears to be lunging at the second woman with a knife when Reardon opened fire. So there's two people that she tried to kill. I mean, one, in the body cam footage, you can see that she was winding back and was about to do it. I guess there was another one, okay. It sparked protests immediately because people don't wait for the facts to come out. And let's see here. Very sad. There's that picture again. I mean, it's tragedy. I can't believe it got to this point, but this country needs to ask some very serious questions. Why are we still supporting Black Lives Matter when they clearly do not care about Black lives? They care about making money. They've made millions last year. And what have they done with it? To me, it seems like it's all just been marketing. They've spent all their money on marketing or organizing or planning these events instead of spending money in these Black communities, maybe starting up businesses so that, excuse me, so they have jobs or donating money to the families there. They're not doing that. Where are these millions of dollars going? I suspect that they're going to the other ringleaders, like the co-founder who bought a bunch of houses. And that's what happens. And she, like I said, she's a self-proclaimed Marxist. That's what happens in these Marxist, socialist, communist countries. There are a small few of people that all the wealth and all the labor, the combined labor of everybody in their country goes to funding. And they live great lives, high lives with multi-million-dollar mansions and all the things that they need, and everybody else in the country works to serve their greed and their lifestyle. So that's where this is going. Anyway, I guess I'll just stop it there.